Hey everybody, this is GGB. Today we're going to be doing the Selection Sunday stream. Sorry, this is going to be a little bit late, guys. That's on me. It's 100% on me. I hope you guys join soon, but let's go straight into it. We got at the 8 seed, we got Boise State. They're going to be playing the 9 seed Memphis. This is going to be a really interesting basketball game. Moving on. We got the 5 seed Yukon. Uconn's playing really well right now. I'm going to be interested to see who the 12 seed is. It's going to be New Mexico State. And so that game's going to be really interesting because New Mexico State's a really good lower conference basketball team. And UConn's obviously a top tier. Big East team is going to be a really interesting matchup. Arkansas, who ended up losing in the semifinals to Texas A&M, is going to end up getting the 4 seed on this side of the bracket, playing the 13 seed, which is going to be Vermont. Oh, I hope you guys can see the bracket. Just the camera so you guys can see it real quick. We got Boise State here. Memphis, Yukon, Arkansas. Vermont's going to be coming up soon. Don't worry, guys. So 6 seed is going to be Alabama, which is going to be right here. Second SEC team on this side of the bracket. They're an interesting basketball team. Thank you. Gonzaga is going to be a 1 seed up here. Well, did Rutgers actually get in? Or are they waiting? I'm interested. I really love Rutgers. / Notre Dame. So Rutgers is going to be one of the last 4 teams in. They're going to be playing Notre Dame in the play-in game. It's actually going to be really fascinating because Rutgers is a quality basketball team that is somewhat forgotten about. And a lot of stuff. Sorry, guys. I seem to have misplaced Rutgers. Where did you go, Rutgers? Okay, doesn't matter. We'll put Notre Dame here for now. But anyways, really interesting game between either Notre Dame or Rutgers. I think either team can give our Alabama a game, definitely, considering how on and off Alabama can be losing to Vanderbilt. Texas Tech is going to be playing Montana State. Texas Tech coming in. Oh, shoot. Wow. Move all these down. Sorry, guys. There we go. Texas Tech's going to go here. Playing Michigan State, Montana State, and then Michigan State is going to be the 7 seed. They're going to be facing Davidson, who makes the tournament despite losing their conference championship game. And then we'll see who else is going to be the 2 seed on this side. 2 seed, we get Duke as the 2 seed, so obviously a really good basketball team. This is going to be an interesting one down the stretch. Duke, obviously really solid, and it was in the ACC championship game to Virginia Tech. They're going to be on the same side as Gonzaga, so we'll see who is going to come out on that side on top. But it's really fascinating to see who's going to make it from here on out. Duke is obviously a really solid basketball team. I think they have a chance to win it all this year. And they're going to be playing CS Fullerton, so likely a win there. So the record isn't entirely complete. They've announced all of them. But let's start going through. Obviously, Gonzaga is going to beat whoever they're playing up top. It's just that's a pretty obvious one there. They're playing Georgia State. This is a tough one for me. I like Boise State. I like Memphis. I've watched both of them this year. Memphis, however, it has all the talent there. I think Memphis has the talent to be a Final Four basketball team, but it's not come together for them yet. And for that reason alone, I got to say Boise State is a more together basketball team. I think they make it on to the next round. Alabama's going to be playing either Notre Dame or Rutgers. I put Notre Dame here for now. I think Rutgers could easily get there as well, but, Notre Dame is a team that everyone thinks really highly of. Rutgers is a team that's not as highly thought of. I think Alabama wins. Actually, I think whoever wins the Notre Dame-Rutgers game wins this one. Alabama is just too inconsistent for me personally. I mean, Alabama has the talent there, obviously. They've played close games with Kentucky and Auburn, but they've also lost to Vanderbilt. So, I mean, the talent's there, but the inconsistency is a little bit concerning. Vermont, let's go. Vermont is playing Arkansas. They're going to go right there. And let's see if I got any new ones. Ooh. No. And nope, those are all the ones I got. Sorry, guys. We're going to be waiting a little bit longer for these other ones. I think Arkansas beats Vermont. I think Arkansas beats Vermont pretty handily. See, this is an interesting one. As soon as I hit New Mexico State, I'm going to pick New Mexico State there because I think they're a better basketball team. I think Texas Tech beats the 14 seed effort. And I think Texas Tech advances there. I think Michigan State's a better basketball team than Davidson. I put them there. I put Duke here. This part's interesting. I think this could be a really solid game, but I think obviously Gonzaga is a better basketball team. I'll put them in the Sweet 16 for now. Arkansas is going to end up playing, I think, New Mexico State. I'm going to pick New Mexico State as a 12 seed to pull off an upset, but I think Arkansas beats them. I think Arkansas moves here. I think Texas Tech beats Notre Dame, and I think Duke plays a close game with Michigan State, but I think Duke makes it out on top. Texas Tech plays Duke. I think Texas Tech wins that game, goes here. I think Gonzaga beats Arkansas here, and then obviously this is a tough game. Texas Tech is a very solid basketball team as well, but I got to say Gonzaga, I think, goes all the way to the finals right here, goes to the Final Four. Anyways, let me know what you guys think in the chat below about my picks. I don't think they're that insane. I learned from my previous mistake with the ACC tournament not to pick insane matchups because that's what happens to me. I got the Virginia Tech part right, that making it all the way to the finals, but Wake Forest kind of let me down almost immediately. See, Davidson's a confusing basketball team. I don't think they're that great. But, a lot of people do think they're a solid basketball team. I don't disagree that they're solid, but I just don't think they're going to be a good matchup for Michigan State. I think they're Michigan State's a much better basketball team. I hope you guys are as hyped as for the Big Ten tournament as I am. I'm not Big Ten tournament. I'm sorry. NCAA tournament. I'm a huge fan of March Madness. It's my favorite playoffs of all of them because I think it's the most fair. For instance, like teams like Texas A&M and Virginia Tech, who didn't have the best regular seasons, can make a huge comeback and make it all the way to March Madness. I mean, it's really kind of cool how the Big Ten tournament works, and that's why I'm a huge fan of maybe initiating this in different kind of sports. I think college football could work with a similar idea to this. I don't think it has to be exactly the same, but I think it's a solid enough concept that it could work elsewhere. Moving on to the next side of the bracket, guys, we're going to do the white side for this one. The 1 seed is going to be Arizona. It's a really great basketball team this year. I've watched Arizona a lot. They're one of my favorite teams in the entire NCAA. I think they have a chance of winning it all. We got a new delivery of things. Fortunately, none of them are Arizona, so we can't put them on the board yet. But New Mexico State came in, so let's put them on the other side. New Mexico State goes right here. I think they win, and they go there. Yeah, okay. So they're going to play either Wright State or Bryant. I have Wright State right here. Bryant has yet to come in, but Wright State, really solid basketball team right here that should make it. I mean, they're solid enough, but they're just not going to put up a fight to Arizona. It's just not going to happen there. It's on Rutgers, by the way. Rutgers. Hey, good job, guys. You made it. 8 seed's going to be Seton Hall. Seton Hall Pirates. Started off the season rather rough. I'm going to put Wright State up here for now. There you go. Wright State, you get the bid. Seton Hall is a team that started off the season rather rough, and they ended up finishing the season really strong. The opposite of Xavier, and we're going to see what happens with Xavier today as well, see if they end up making the tourney. They're going to be playing TCU in the first round. TCU's it's an odd basketball team. Obviously, they have the talent there to do a lot of, like, they beat Kansas this year. They beat Texas in the Big 12 tournament. TCU is right there, guys. Thanks, Mom. Shout out to my mom. She's a legend. But 5 seed's going to be Houston. I think this is a little bit an underrating of Houston. I think Houston's a better basketball team than this. They're going to be playing UAB, and this is going to be an interesting one because UAB, obviously, coming from the Conference of USA side of things, they're Conference USA is normally not phenomenally great, but they're normally a solid basketball conference. North Texas proved that last year, beating Purdue. Illinois going to be the 4 seed right here. They're going to be playing Chattanooga and the 13th spot. I think this is going to be interesting. Chattanooga Moccasins, I think, is what they are. Chattanooga's a good enough basketball team, but again, Illinois is good. They can be a national title contender, but then on the other hand, they could suck. They could legitimately suck. They could pull a game against Indiana. They could really do anything. Arizona's here. Yeah. Arizona's back as the 1 seed. Colorado State is going to the tournament, guys. I kind of expected it. Colorado State obviously was a team that was a good enough team to make the tournament. But, sometimes teams that are good enough to make the tournament don't make it in. They're going to play in Michigan. This is something I don't agree with. Michigan should not be in this tournament. They're 17-14, guys. That's not good. That's really bad. They're 3 games over 500, so they set the record for worst record ever to make the NCAA tournament. Michigan's not a tournament team. They're just not. They're not a basketball team that deserves to make the tournament. You're going to leave out a team like SMU or Wake Forest, sorry, or even Texas A&M, so you can put in this horrible, atrocious basketball team. It's just beyond me. Tennessee is going to be the 3 seed. They're really good. They obviously won the SEC this year. They're going to be playing Longwood. Here comes Longwood, guys. It's a really cool logo, honestly. Look at it. It's like a little horse with a spear, the Lancers. They're going to be the 14 seed. Obviously, I don't know how great of a shot they have of beating Tennessee. Tennessee's a really good basketball team this year. 14 seeds rarely upset 3 seeds. But moving on, Ohio State gets the 7 seed, guys. So this side's rather Big Ten heavy. This is the 3rd Big Ten team to make it on this side. But Ohio State is going to be the 7th seed. And obviously, this is one where you might want to pick an upset with Loyola Chicago being the 10th seed. Obviously, this is an easy one. If you're going to pick a 10th seed over a 7th seed, Ohio State's a team that kind of floundered down the stretch of the regular season. And to be fair, they were without Kyle Young and Zed Key, who are some of the better basketball players, but still, this is a Loyola Chicago team that obviously has a chance of upsetting really good basketball teams as they did last year against Illinois. Villanova is going to be the 2 seed, and they're going to be taking on Delaware. The Blue Hens, obviously not a team that is insanely great, but, maybe they might give them a fight. Who knows? UAB has come into play, guys. So UAB will be taking on Houston. And Chattanooga's yet to come in, but I'm sure it'll be soon. So let's go over the bracket and who I think is going to come out of this on top. Obviously, Arizona. Let's just do right off the bat. Arizona is going to beat Wright State, and Villanova is going to beat Delaware. I mean, this isn't that much of a question mark. These are just 2 better basketball teams than the other ones. Villanova is a team that I think could compete for a national title this year, and just Delaware's not. Moving forward, I think TCU is a better basketball team than Seton Hall. I think it could be a really close basketball game. But I'm going to go with the Horned Frogs. I think the Horned Frogs obviously have the talent to do a lot of great things in the tournament. And they've shown that they can do that in the regular season. They beat a really good team in Kansas. They beat Texas in the tournament. They've done a lot of great things. The Horned Frogs are a really solid basketball team. I think they're going to move on. A lot of people might be trying to take UAB. They are a solid basketball team, but you just got to go with Houston here. Houston has been so good for so long. Kelvin Sampson has those kids playing hard, and I think they're a 5 seed. I think that's a little bit low for them. I really like the Cougars. I think they're really underrated this year. Illinois is just – they're a tier above. You got Kofi Coburn. You have so many really solid basketball teams in the Big Ten, and Illinois has really beaten all of them. They're a solid basketball team. They have Kofi Coburn. They have Curbelo. They have Piper. They have so many great players on their team. And I think this is why Illinois, I think, is a national title contender. Now, they could also be the Illinois that shows up against Indiana and does almost nothing the entire game. They lose because they take so many bad shots with Kofi Coburn. They can do that, and they can lose to this 13 seed. But then also, I feel like they have a chance to be really good. And I think they have a chance to go on a run here. See, Colorado State's a really good basketball team. Moving on to the next game. Michigan's not. I don't understand how the Wolverines are in the tournament, let alone they're not even in the first four in, right? They're not even in the play-in tournament. No. They're so good. They got the 11 seed. They're going to leave out a team like SMU or Oklahoma or Wake Forest who are playing their best basketball at the end of the season to put in this absolute stinker of a basketball team who's just going to get crushed by Colorado State. It's not going to be close. The Rams are a better basketball team, and this is not a team that deserves to make it. For instance, my gosh darn Nittany Lions probably deserve to make it more than these Michigan Wolverines. They're so bad, guys. They're very, very bad. Sorry, guys. The board fell. We got Chattanooga. They are going here. Yeah, they play Illinois. They're an interesting team. I mean, I like Chattanooga a lot. They have some definite upside to their play, but it's just Illinois is better. Tennessee, you just got to pick Tennessee over Longwood. I mean, just in no universe do I pick Longwood to beat Tennessee. Tennessee's such a solid basketball team overall. I think Loyola Chicago is an easy upset to pick here to upset Ohio State. Then I think you got to go Arizona. Houston beats Illinois. Colorado State upsets Tennessee and move on here. Villanova beats – actually, I'm going to go with craziness. Loyola Chicago beats Villanova. Colorado State beats Loyola Chicago, goes here. Houston upsets Arizona, and then Houston ends up making it all the way to the Final Four. That's my prediction. I know it's pretty crazy, especially Colorado State making it to the Elite Eight when they could lose in the first round to Michigan. I don't think that's likely, though, is that the case. I think they're a better basketball team than that. I think they have a chance to upset Tennessee in the next round. That's the real worry where I have things go wrong. Loyola Chicago was proven they can get to the Sweet 16. They did last year when they beat Illinois. I think Illinois last year was a better basketball team than Villanova is this year. Now, to be fair, Loyola Chicago had some players last year that are no longer with them that were really, really solid, and they're no longer on the Ramblers team. But I just got to go with the Ramblers. The Ramblers have been so consistent in this tournament. I believe in the Ramblers. Anyways, moving on to the next side of the bracket. Sorry, guys. We're going to go pink side next. The pink side of the bracket is coming up. And a lot of teams are waiting to hear their names called. A lot of teams have punched their ticket. Like, for instance, Richmond has punched their ticket, and they don't have to, worry about hearing their name called. The Texas A&M and SMU fans and Oklahoma Wake Forest fans, they're biting their nails right now because they have not been called for the first two sides of the bracket. We'll see. Kansas is going to get the 1 seed on the pink side. So Kansas is going to be the 1 seed. Kansas, really solid basketball team, obviously won the Big 12 this year, and it wasn't all that close. The closest game they played was in the championship against Texas Tech, and they still look like the superior basketball team. Blew out West Virginia and then proceeded to blow out TCU the next day. Jayhawks are really good this year. They're going to be playing the Midwest side of things in Fort Worth, Texas, which means Kansas could have home court advantage throughout this entire thing. They're going to be playing either Texas Southern or Texas A&M. Oh, I forgot. It's CC. Corpus Christi, I think. Texas Southern is who I'm going to put because that's the one I have right now. Texas Southern they made it last year, but they lost in the play-in game. There's Texas A&M, Corpus Christi, speak of the devil. We'll put them also right here just for the time being to show that they made it. Then we have San Diego State end up playing Creighton. San Diego State, obviously a solid basketball team this year. So is Creighton, though. This is going to be a really close 8-9 matchup. I'm going to probably go with Creighton here. I like Creighton a lot more than I do San Diego State. I was going to be a 5 seed, which I think I thought they should have been a 4 seed. That's just me. They're going to be playing in Richmond. And they're a dangerous basketball team. They've gotten hot later in the season. Obviously, they win the Atlantic 10 over Davidson today to clinch a playoff spot. But Richmond's interesting. The Spiders Spiders definitely have a shot here to make a serious upset over Iowa. Providence is going to be a 4 seed, guys. I personally think Iowa has been hotter as the season has wore on than Providence has. Providence has won a lot of close basketball games. They are 25-5 though, and I think that's enough to give you the 4 seed. They've had a really strong season. They're going to be playing South Dakota State, the Jackrabbits. The Jackrabbits have actually had a little bit of an underrated year. They went 30-4 this year. Not a lot of people have been talking about them, but they're a sleeper to make a play in this tournament as an underdog. Moving on, the 6th seed is going to be LSU. And LSU is such an interesting basketball team to me because this LSU team that just made the tournament as a 6th seed fired their head coach yesterday. So I don't know how the heck you expect to win in the tournament. You just fired your head coach. I don't know what LSU's thought process was there. And they're going to be playing Iowa State, a team that they have the possibility to be dangerous. The Penn State transfer Isaiah Brockington has been absolutely deadly this year with the Cyclones. Moving on, Wisconsin gets the 3 seed. Wisconsin's an interesting basketball team. I think they're really, really good. But sometimes they just haven't put the pieces together. Obviously, the loss to Michigan State in the Big Ten tournament was kind of disappointing if you're a Badgers fan. It's been a up and down year for the Badgers, but I think they have a serious shot at going a long way in this tournament. And they're going to be playing the Colgate Raiders. Colgate obviously made the tournament for the 3rd straight year this year. They're very consistent. You got to love Colgate and the Patriot. They've been really solid. Now, they haven't won a game in the NCAA tournament yet, but we'll see if that changes on Friday. The 7th seed is going to be USC. And USC, solid basketball team. Fortunately, lost to UCLA in the semis of the Pac-12. But, there's 3 Pac-12 teams that are going to make the tournament, and then there's no other ones on the bubble, which I think is really interesting. And then we got Miami. Miami's a team that made it all the way to the semifinals in the ACC tournament and ended up losing a heartbreaker to Duke. Very close contested basketball game. They broke the hearts of Boston College on the way there. And the 2 seed is going to be Auburn, which is kind of crazy to think about that Auburn is now a 2 seed, but they've kind of played their way onto that. They were the number 1 team in the country and looked like they were going to be a definite 1 seed, and they just kind of crumbled down the stretch. They lost almost every week for the last 3 weeks, and then they ended up losing their first game of the tournament to Texas A&M, and I think you earned that 2 seed if you're an Auburn fan. And then you got Jacksonville State. Jacksonville State, I think, is the most interesting story of the entire tournament because Jacksonville State is the only team I've ever heard of to make it to the NCAA tournament and not win their conference championship. They did not win their conference championship. They didn't even make their conference championship. The only reason Jacksonville State is here is because the team that beat them in the semifinals was Bellarmine. Bellarmine was not eligible to go to the NCAA tournament this year, which means when they won the entire conference tournament, they could not go, which means they had to send the 1 seed, who was Jacksonville State, who lost in the semifinals. So it's kind of crazy. Jacksonville had a chance to go to the tournament this year, but unfortunately lost to Bellarmine. And instead, their rivals went Jacksonville State. So that's kind of crazy. But it just kind of proves that Auburn is – if you're losing to Bellarmine, you're not even winning your conference tournament. I don't think you're going to beat Auburn in the tournament. So let's just put Auburn there automatically. San Francisco, still waiting to hear their name called. Same for the Wyoming Cowboys and the Murray State Riders. It's going to be kind of rude if they don't end up sending Wyoming to the tournament. Keep showing those guys, and then they don't end up sending them to the tournament. But this one's just super easy. It's Kansas. Kansas is going to beat Texas Southern or Texas A&M Corpus Christi. I'm not discriminating. That's going to happen. Kansas is a much better basketball team. This is, I think, going to be a really close matchup. I think Creighton's obviously a really solid Big East team this year. But I just think also San Diego State's a really solid Mountain West team this year. I like the Creighton Blue Jays more. I think Creighton obviously showed their toughness against Providence and their amazing 31-2 run. But I really like the Blue Jays this year. They're a really solid basketball team. I was playing Richmond, and I know this is – I love picking 12 seeds too, and I already did pick one. It's Iowa. I mean, it's just I understand that certain things can go different ways on certain days. It's day to day in the NCAA tournament. And obviously, Richmond's a solid basketball team going on a run in the Atlantic 10 tournament to end up winning this thing. But it's just Iowa. Iowa wins the Big Ten. They look like the best team in the Big Ten, which is kind of crazy to think about considering Purdue, Wisconsin, Illinois are all in the Big Ten. But this team that finished 5th place in the Big Ten ended up winning it all. And it's because Iowa is such a deadly team offensively. They're just elite. I think the Jackrabbits are actually going to give Providence a fight, but we all know if Providence is in a close basketball game and it's not against Villanova, Providence is winning that basketball game. They don't lose close ones unless you're named Villanova. LSU's playing Iowa State, and this one's just easy. I mean, you can't fire your head coach and then expect to also win the tournament game. Your team's not going to have anyone to play for. It's just going to come out flat. Iowa State is a good basketball team. This is just a confusing move for LSU, and LSU fans are so ungrateful. I mean, this guy, Will Wade, is taking you to the tournament almost every single year, and you guys are going to kick him out. I tell you, if I'm a Penn State fan and we're getting to the tournament 1 year out of 5, I would be stoked. You tell me getting to the tournament every year and you guys got to fire your head coach. That's just insane. Wisconsin is playing Colgate. Wisconsin, I think, is a better basketball team than Colgate. At least I hope they are. Otherwise, the Big Ten's really weak this year. Wisconsin's solid. They're a solid defensive team. The problem is if they get cold, they are a very beatable basketball team. Penn State proved that in the regular season. Michigan State proved that in the Big Ten tournament. You can do things to Wisconsin to make them not great offensively, but I don't think Colgate's going to figure that out. Now, Iowa State could. USC is playing Miami. This is an interesting one. I really like Miami in this matchup. I think I'm going to take Miami. I'll take Kansas over Creighton then. Iowa over Providence. Wisconsin over Iowa State in a close one. Auburn over Miami. Then I take Wisconsin over Auburn. Iowa over Kansas. And then Iowa to make the Final Four. Anyways, that's my pink side of the bracket. Let's go to the yellow side of the bracket in which Baylor is going to get the 1 seed. And if you are a team whose name has not been called yet, you are shaking in your boots right now. There's not a lot of spots left for everyone. Only 15 more spots. Norfolk State is going to take one of those spots. Norfolk State, a team that played the best, supposedly the best team in the country last year in Gonzaga and ended up losing rather badly. They got kind of crushed. That'll probably happen again this year against Baylor. Now, Norfolk State had a good 24-6 record, but I just don't know how that's going to hold up. UNC ends up making it as the 8th seed. I think UNC is a very solid basketball team, so I think that's around where I would put them as well. UNC obviously beat Duke. They also lost to Virginia Tech in their second game. Then they're going to be playing Marquette. Marquette is a team that just got the great news that they're making the tournament. I thought Marquette was a tournament team, but when I hadn't heard their name yet, I was kind of worried, not going to lie. St. Mary's gets the 5 seed, so that's important if you're St. Mary's. I think they were a tournament team as well, but again, hadn't heard their names yet. 12 seed is going to be Wyoming/Indiana. So Wyoming and Indiana, both are going to make the tournament. Indiana's a team I was a little bit worried about here. Let me put the team I think is going to win here. I think it's Indiana. I think Indiana's a team that if they get their stuff together can make quite a run in the NCAA tournament. They have the talent there. It's just they've lost so many close ones, and we'll see if they can pull themselves together in this tournament. But Wyoming is going to make it, guys. So is Rutgers. So that's kind of cool. I think Big Ten's going to be sending already sent a lot of teams this year. If you're a Texas A&M or Wake Forest or SMU or Oklahoma fan, you are quite worried at the moment that your team is not going to make this tournament. There's not a lot of spots left. 4 is going to be UCLA. Everyone expected UCLA to make the tournament. They're going to get the 4 seed here. 13 seed. I don't think Akron has been called their names yet. In my opinion, this is Akron's spot. Yeah. Akron's a solid basketball team. We saw the first game of the year. They almost beat Ohio. Texas ends up getting the 6th seed. We'll see who they're going to be playing at the 11 spot. That's probably Virginia Tech. Now that I think about it, I think that's probably Virginia Tech at that 11 spot. Yeah, it's going to be the Hokies, and that's a rough draw if you're the Longhorns. Virginia Tech's a team that has been on fire lately, and Texas is a team that's kind of slumping at the moment. The next seed is 3. That's going to be Purdue. Might be Kentucky. No, I think it's probably Kentucky. I think Kentucky gets the 3 seed here. Nope, Purdue gets the 3 seed. I guess Kentucky's getting the 2 seed on the side. Purdue's going to get the 3. I'd be a little bit disappointed if I was the Boilermakers here. I think I was a 2 seed. But, you're a 3 seed. You're going to have a chance to make a play. But you're going to have to play either Virginia Tech or Texas in the next round. That's going to be a tough one if you're Purdue. They're going to be playing Yale. So watch out. Yale's not exactly a cakewalk. The Ivy League normally is considered a cakewalk, but normally Harvard and Yale both give up fights in the tournament. Not the best fights, but, they give up something. Murray State's going to be a 7 seed, which is kind of interesting considering Murray State was 30-2 this year. They've been crazy good. They're one of the best teams in the entire NCAA. Putting them as a 7 seed is kind of odd, but I bet San Fran is going to be the 10 seed here. Or maybe it's Texas A&M. It could be Texas A&M here. I think San Fran or Texas A&M. I'm going to go San Fran. I think San Fran's going to be the 10 seed. Yeah, San Fran's the 10 seed. They're going to go right here. Oh, Texas A&M is going to miss out on the tournament, guys. Wow. No SMU or Wake Forest or Oklahoma either, but wow. No. Kentucky's obviously going to be the 2 seed. We can just put them right here, right now. A 15 seed is going to be. I think this team. They're going to be the 15 seed if I'm not mistaken. I think they're the only one that hasn't been called yet. San Fran's excited that they're making the tournament, and you got to think the Aggies are just absolutely throttled right now. They made it all the way to the SEC tournament, and they end up losing to Tennessee, and they're not going to make the tournament because of it. Wow. SMU also is a wow. I don't know how you put Michigan. Yeah, St. Peter's makes it. They're the 15 seed. I don't know how you put Michigan in over Texas A&M and SMU, and even Wake Forest or Oklahoma. That's just it's a rough one there. If you're any of those fans. But let's go through. I think Baylor's obviously going to beat Norfolk State. UNC Marquette's a tough one. Obviously, UNC has shown the ability to be a really tough basketball team this year when given the opportunity. But they've also shown they can lose to Pitt. So it's really interesting. Both these teams have shown really high points and really low points. I'm going to go with UNC because they've been seeming to at least get better as the stretch goes on. Marquette doesn't seem to have been doing that. I think Indiana wins here. I understand Indiana's a play-in team. Who was Indiana playing? Oh, shoot. Oh, they're playing Wyoming. I think Indiana beats St. Mary's, by the way. This one's going to be a tough one, honestly. And I honestly might take the upset here. I kind of like the Zips. First 4 out, SMU, Oklahoma, and Dayton. Dayton's not a team I even kept out. Good thing Dayton was not called because I would have been rummaging through my bag trying to find Dayton. Texas A&M, that sucks, guys. That really does suck that you guys didn't make the tournament. You were probably a tournament team. So was SMU, Wake Forest, and Oklahoma. And that happens every year. Teams that likely should have made the tournament don't make the tournament. But Michigan's a team that I don't even understand how they made the tournament. They're not good. The Wolverines are a bad basketball team. They're not even in the last 4 in. I don't understand at all the logic behind that. I think I agree with all the last 4 in. I think Indiana, Notre Dame, Rutgers, and Wyoming are all March Madness teams, in my opinion. But not putting in Michigan is just entirely disrespectful to what the Aggies went through this week, getting all the way to the SEC tournament game. It's disrespectful to Oklahoma for all they did this week as well. It's disrespectful to the Mustangs for what a solid team they had this year. And it's just absolutely sickening that you put in a team like Michigan that's just so bad. They're going to lose, and I don't think it's going to be all that close. They're not a good basketball team. They're a mediocre basketball team, but you're talking about teams that had the resume in SMU and Wake Forest. You're talking about and Texas A&M. You're talking about teams that were playing well at the end of the year, not Michigan. And it's just I don't agree with this selection at all. I don't think Michigan is I don't think it's a March Madness team, but I'm not the one that decides. I'm going to go upset here. I think the Zips are really good. I think the Zips pull off an upset here. I think the Hokies also beat Texas. I think Purdue beats Yale. I think that one's not that crazy. I think this one could be a close matchup, but I think Murray State's a really solid basketball team. I think Kentucky obviously beats St. Peter's. The Baylor-UNC game might be somewhat close, but I'm going to go with Baylor. I think Baylor's the national title contender. I'm going to go with them. See, this one's a tough one. I'm going to go with Indiana. I think Indiana's a team that is good enough to go all the way to the Sweet 16. I think the Hokies are also a team that's good enough to go to the Sweet 16. I understand Purdue is a team that likely has national title contender status, but the Hokies are playing at such an elite level right now. I find it hard to pick against the Hokies. Aluma and Mutz and Couture and Storm, they're playing so well together right now. It's hard not to root for the Hokies, simply because of how far they've come from when they were just absolutely abysmal to start the season. They were so bad, and they ended up coming back from that horrible start to end up putting together a run in the ACC tournament to win it and go to the next level, which is pretty crazy. I mean, the Hokies were a team that were considered dead on arrival. It was not good for the Hokies, and they ended up winning this thing. I think Kentucky beats Murray State. I don't think it's an easy victory though. I think Baylor beats Indiana. I'm not going to go as far as to say Indiana beats Baylor. I will go as far as to say I think the Hokies beat the Wildcats. I'm a crazy person. I think the Baylor Bears end up making their way to the finals. Yeah, I feel pretty confident about that bracket. I don't think it's obviously perfect, but I'm not embarrassed about any of these picks. I think the Hokies are a very, very good basketball team this year. I think it's unwise to pick against them at any game. I understand the Baylor game, though, maybe the Kentucky game, but I think they will beat Texas, and I think they will beat Purdue. Give me the Hokies to make it to the Elite Eight. I think they're doing a great job. I'm rooting for them. Go Hokies. Hey everybody, this is GGB. I hope you guys enjoyed the Selection Sunday stream. I'm really looking forward to watching these games with you. I'll recap with you next weekend after these games are all done and see how my brackets held up. But hey everybody, this is GGB saying adios amigos and enjoy some March Madness.